Well, we started out doing everything ourselves, so also making all the mistakes ourselves. I would say get a really good lawyer. No, seriously, not a joke. Get a really good lawyer, yeah.
Welcome, volle bak. Students from the Willem de Kooning Academy, where are you? Ah, good, good, good. The Amsterdam Fashion Academy. More fingers. Artes Fashion Design Academy, of course. Artes? Not yet here. Erasmus University. Yeah, good. And all the other students from the Netherlands, but also from abroad. Who do I forget? Stand up. Oh, St. Joe's, of course. Ah, I've seen you before with the blue hair. Good. We talked about Mugler, no? Good. Yeah. Well, I'm the director of the Kunsthal. I'm happy you're here, and you've seen a little trailer of the exhibition. Have you already visited the exhibition? Who did? Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, you can see it again today, I hope. This is our 8th masterclass in collaboration with the Willem de Kooning, actually. And we present a series of masterclasses. I have no idea if you have been to one before. I think some of you have been to the Peter Lindbergh one. Erwin Olaf was here. Choreographer Conny Janssen has been here. And of course, during our 25th anniversary of the Kunsthal, we invited Rem Koolhaas. And we had the artists Melanie, Bonajo, and Michael Kvium. But now today it's time, of course, for Viktor and Rolf. They've been here at the end of May when we had the big opening, and they are celebrating their 25th anniversary here at the Kunsthal. They're almost, you can call it symbiotic collaboration. And they selected, together with guest curator Thierry-Maxime Loriot, a fantastic selection of their works. The exciting designs, a lot of expression, self-expression, and you learn really about their conceptual way of working. Please also have a look at the great wallpaper, because you can consider that in the exhibition as the archive of their works. So we're very happy, of course, that they're coming back. Thierry-Maxime Loriot, he's from Canada. He's the guest curator of this exhibition. You might have heard his name before, because he has organized the, and of course initiated the exhibition of Jean-Paul Gaultier. I don't know if did anyone see it here in 2013? Yeah? Ah, okay. Good, 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 good. He's done that. And together with Thierry, we initiated and produced the Traveling International Exhibition of Peter Lindbergh, which has done Munich and Torino. So Thierry will do the introduction. Viktor and Rolf will answer all his questions, of course. And then there's time for the portfolios, but Thierry will tell all about that. I like to thank the VSB Fonds for their general support of the Kunsthal Live events here. And of course, our exhibition partners, ING, Van de Ende Foundation, Hans Boot Mannequins, and the Nationale Nederlanden. And it might be funny that I name them now in this company, but I think it's always important to mention your partners, because they really help us and support us to get these kind of ambitious projects here to the Kunsthal. So I'll ask if you can give a warm applause to Thierry Loriot, and he'll take it from there. Thierry.
Thank you, Emily. Hi, everyone. How are you? No, again. How are you? Good. Well, so I'm happy to be back here. I guess I've seen, when I was just there, I've seen some familiar faces that I've seen before, I think, during Gauthier or Lindbergh, or maybe at the opening here. How many of you here have seen the Viktor&Rolf exhibition already? Oh, quite a lot. So, and did you like it? Yes. Good. You're very quiet. You know that you have to ask questions at the end of this, right? Huh? Oh. No, but you have to really prepare questions. And how many of you submitted portfolios? Because I got some here, and I got some portfolios, and we have some seats available on the first row. And I would like to see empty first row. So is Azam Ali here? Yeah. Ah, good. Perfect. I'm very bad with the accent. What about Mart van der Leden? Is Mart van der Leden? Oh, can you come, please, come on the first row, please? So they're the brave ones who submitted portfolios. I think it's fantastic. Zara Kanan. Is Zara Kanan here? Oh, can you come join us? Maya Simishik? Oh, fantastic. Isabelle Wildenberg? Yeah? Chloé Severien? Good. Lynn Alleman? Suzanne Vos? Is it Brain Royas Cuadros? See? Ah, gracias. Super. So everybody's here. That's fantastic. So yes, so this is so I'm Thierry. I'm the exhibition curator, and so this is my third collaboration with Kunsthal, which is a fantastic museum. And how many of you are actually Dutch from here or from Rotterdam? Also, there's a lot of people from other. Is there any people from Belgium a lot here today? Not that many. Canada? No. Me? Okay, good. I'm joking. You're so quiet. You don't even laugh. Now you do. Good. Yes, so this exhibition, in fact, it was initiated first for another version of it in Australia 2 years ago, and it really came as an accident. In fact, because I have friends in common with Viktor&Rolf, and they were always saying, oh, you should meet, you should do a project together. And one day, I was in a small restaurant in Paris where I always go to, and they happened to be there also. So the people at the counter, they know me, and sometimes I was going there with Jean-Paul Gaultier. So they knew I was working in fashion, and the girl comes super excited, and she's like, oh, do you know that Viktor&Rolf are there? So I just went to see them, and I was like, oh, I'm Thierry, by the way, it would be fun to do a project together. And then Rolf and Victor, who seem serious but are not serious at all, they're really fun. They're like, yeah, sure, when? And I'm like, now. And basically, we did the project within a year, and we did this project together of the exhibition and also of the beautiful exhibition catalog. And, you know, to make these exhibition possible, it's impossible to do it without people like Emily Ansenk, the director of Kunsthal, who really opens the doors to fashion, but also beyond fashion, to be able to exhibit these pieces that are incredibly unique, singular, and also impossible to see in real. You know, even if you're invited to a haute couture show, or even if you buy Vogue or Numero or any fashion magazine, and it's photographed by Mert and Marcus and any of the greatest photographer in the planet, you never have access up close to these pieces, and mostly some really great treasures. For example, like the Russian doll collection that many of you know probably from Viktor&Rolf, and some other fantastic loans that we got for the length of the exhibition, like the dress of Princess Mabel and many other great loans, also with the collaboration of Boymans Museum and other museums around the Netherlands who will lend these pieces. So it's really, I really want to point it out because it's very difficult to make these projects, and mostly projects that are really avant-garde like this one. So please, if we can just applaud Emily for this, because she's fantastic to do this, so please. There's also a huge team behind it, also of Kunsthal. So I want to thank also in advance all the team at Kunsthal to make this possible. So this exhibition, basically, I worked for. Can I sit? Can I sit? Yeah. Okay. Good. It's funny because I see myself in the little screen here, and I bought this. It's very personal. Anyway, I bought this shirt from Dries van Noten, and it's weird, the cut, no? I look like a big square. And Victor got exactly the same one. And when he saw me, he's like, oh, you got a great shirt, but I don't like it because I look like a square. And we both think that we need to do something here. So since I have fashion students, I think, anyway, maybe it's... anyway, I should take it off maybe, no? No, I'm joking. I won't. You want to, huh? Isn't it supposed to be a serious talk? Anyway. Yes, so to make these projects, in fact, what was interesting is that Viktor and Rolf, they were very open for their archives and to give access to everything. And, you know, we started thinking, you know, when you work with living artists, for me, it's something that is very important. And also for Emily, and she works with a lot of living artists. And one thing we want to do is when you do an exhibition with them is that the visitors and the people, of course, they get moved, the content wins overall, but also you want to make it a celebration of their work and not an exhibition that looks like a funeral. Like you come out and you're like, oh, are they dead or alive and what's going on? So it's really a celebration of their work. And with this exhibition with Viktor and Rolf, we made a selection of pieces, and at first they asked me, oh, do you have a list? And so I made my list and I said, look, make your list, I'm gonna make my list, and let's compare lists. So we chose each 50 items, and out of the 50 items we had 49 that were the same. So basically it was quite easy to do the exhibition because we liked exactly the same things. So through the exhibition, it's not a thematic exhibition because they did more their fashion, not by following trends. They really have their own universe, and that's what is fantastic to discover in this, and that's what we're going to discuss today, about their universe and how they built it, and how they, after 25 years, they still are very relevant and they're still doing some fashion. So for now, we're just going to watch a little... It's horrible, that huge screen. Yeah, like this. Yeah, no. Huh? Thanks. She said I look great. So we're gonna watch this video.
Everything from the first idea to business decisions to we really do everything together.
What I find remarkable is how everything seems to fit together. There is a coherence, and when I look at the first collection we did and collections we've done recently, it seems as if there's a red thread.
To create an exhibition like this and to write the catalog takes almost 2 years, 2 to 3 years. Just the construction, to do the platforms, to do the rotating mannequins, and to prepare it. And it needs to look perfect because it stays exhibited for 4 months. But that's the beauty of my work. I see their work as a whole. You know, they're fashion artists. They're not fashion designers. They're not artists. They're both fashion artists. And I don't have any problem to know that they're alone in their own category, because when you see the beauty, when you see the content, the intelligence behind the way they develop their collections and they present them, it's a work that is so unique. There is no one else like Viktor and Rolf that work like this for 25 years and are still relevant and, you know, are part of history.
Viktor and Rolf remained a shining example for many Dutch fashion designers on their way, and they operate on the international stage and have made a significant contribution to the heritage of the Netherlands. I would say on to the next 25 years.
That's for the ones who didn't see the exhibition yet. So it's a little teaser. But we're gonna, it's now we watch the other video also, just for the, yeah. So now we're gonna watch this other video, which is just a preview, in fact, to show you a bit how behind the scenes, how they work, and for their latest collection called the Immaculate Collection. I don't know if some of you have seen images of it, but what is fascinating with the last couture collection that they presented in Paris in July is that in fact it's based on the exhibition. What they decided to do is to take the exhibition and make it as a whole collection and unify it with the same fabric and with Swarovski crystals. So now we're going to watch this video of the show and the making of also of the collection.
So
Beautiful, huh? I don't think I'll make you wait more, but I'm really, really, really happy to be back in Kunsthal to do this masterclass with these two guys, which I can now say that are very good friends, and also that are people who, in fact, now are part of the history of fashion, just like Coco Chanel or Yves Saint Laurent or Balenciaga. Within these 25 years, they really marked fashion history, and you're very lucky to have them with us today. So if you can please give a super, super warm welcome to my genius friends, Viktor and Rolf. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well.
We're very
Thank
good.
you.
It's so crowded.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Many students. Does it remind you of your student years?
Well, it's very daunting.
Yeah.
How many people are in here?
A lot. It's 300.
Good.
So 300 new followers on Instagram, right? Right? Yeah. So we just watched the latest collection, the Immaculate Collection, and which in a way it coincides with this 25th anniversary here at Kunsthal, which was based in a way when you saw everything together for the first time. What does it do to you when you see that, you know, you're not even 50 years old and you're already in the museum doing this celebration of a quarter of a century of fashion? Speechless. Speechless.
What's the question?
What's your question? Yeah.
No, what does it? What is the feeling that it brings you when you see that your work is in a museum like this after 25 years? You're not even 50, and you.
Well, I mean, of course, it makes us very proud, a bit daunting, but we've always shown in an art context. So, in a way, it's not just a retrospective and something very nostalgic. It's also a bit like our second home. Of course, we're fashion designers. We present fashion collections in a fashion context, but we've shown in galleries and museums right from the start. Actually, we showed in museums before we ever did catwalk shows. Yeah. So, it feels logical and appropriate.
So let's go back to a couple of years ago when you're kids. You're from which city?
You mean where I was born?
Yeah.
I was born in Gelderop, which is underneath Eindhoven.
And you?
An amazing town called Dongen.
Okay. Anyone from one of these two cities? Oh,
wow.
Good. So it's a fashion cities, right? No? So how was it to live there and to grow up there? Did you know that you would become designers? What kind of kid were you, in fact? Were you like into fashion? Was it your goal? Like, I'm sure everybody wants to know, like, how you become Viktor and Rolf. So, what kind of kid were you?
I was quite. Well, my mother always says you were very happy. You were singing and laughing, and I always go like, when did that change? But no, I like to do solitary things. I like to read. I like to draw. I love to draw, and I would always draw princesses. So that's how it started, I think. And of course, as a kid, you're not aware of fashion or what fashion is. Then when I started to become aware of something like fashion through magazines, I realized that that was what I would like to be, yeah.
And who was did you have like any models or fashion heroes back then from magazines or?
I think for the both of us goes that we were very inspired by perfume advertising. There was something very mysterious and glamorous about perfume ads. And for the both of us, that was the way into fashion, so to speak. Having said that, I was also fascinated when I read an interview with Karl Lagerfeld at the time, that he moved to Paris when he was 14. I don't know if it's true, but it sounds really great. So I thought, oh wow, you can do that. It's something that, you can live your life like that.
It's a real job.
It's a real job, but it's also, there's a world beyond beyond what I know.
What about you, Rolf?
I just remember my hometown is extremely boring. There was really nothing to do. So the only thing I could do was write and make drawings. As well, when we look at social media now, we had no information whatsoever. There was nothing. So I was just very naive.
But it's true, there was you can't compare it with the situation nowadays. I would bike into town to have a look at a fashion magazine that I couldn't afford because it would be too expensive. And that would come out once a month. And there was this TV program from Germany, it wasn't even a Dutch program, that was on twice a year that would show the shows from Paris. I mean, that was it. That was the source of information. There was nothing else.
Times have changed, huh?
But then that was amazing because I remember twice a year you were in front of your TV and you were looking at, those 15 minutes of Mugler, Montana.
Yeah, I think there was an element of mystery about fashion, also because of the lack of information about what it was. I never really understood what it was, but I found it really fascinating.
And how did you end up in fashion school? Because you met at the exams, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the entrance exams. Yeah, we did the entrance exams at the same time, and we got in the same year. And then we studied together. That was 1988 till 1992. We became friends, and after that started working together, in a nutshell.
And what did you, now in retrospective, what do you think that you've learned because do you think you were creative as kids, or is it something that you've been taught to be creative? Because you could not work together in school, basically. It was very individual, and then you became two. So how was it working? What do you think you've learned from going to the academy in Arnhem?
That's a very well. Of course, we learned. Yeah, that's a very general.
It was an education that was quite experimental, which was good because it was very free. At the same time, there was no knowledge about the fashion world, the industry, so we got no information about that. Because after 4 years, when we were, how old were we? 23 when you?
Yeah, 23, 22, 23.
We knew how to experiment, but we had no clue about the business whatsoever.
And how did you end up working together? In school, could you work together? Were you like exchanging ideas and looking at each other's sketches, or?
Yeah, we would discuss each other's work. We would look at each other's work, but we didn't collaborate. The studies were individual, and we always thought that it would be fun to try and do something together. God knows what. Then, when we graduated,
we did nothing for half a year.
Yeah, we lived around the corner from each other, and then in the morning we would be like, oh, maybe we should go running, like to get some exercise. But then we ended up having coffee.
At a certain moment, we didn't wake up before 2 o'clock, so then
I did.
At a certain point, it was like, okay, we have to do something, and then we went to Paris, and
yeah. So then the Year Fashion Fest. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Then the Year Festival that still exists happened. And how did this happen? Because you graduated, and what do you do when you graduate from fashion school? It's like you have to be in the business. How do you get in the business?
Yeah, well, exactly that question, we had no clue what the answer was or how to even approach the question. So that's why we literally didn't do anything for half a year. We just didn't know what to do and how to approach the industry. And the first thing we decided to do was to give ourselves a kick in the butt and move to Paris, very naively, like Paris being the fashion dream, whatever. Then being in Paris turned out that it was very difficult to meet people or to get a foot in the door, because we thought, okay, maybe we can work somewhere, have an internship, whatever. This was also very difficult. And then to, not just to kill time, but also because we wanted to take some initiative, we decided to participate in this contest in Hyères and to do a collection for this contest, which we made in Paris in a tiny apartment.
Which was the first time you were working
And that
together?
was, yes, that was the first time we collaborated. Yeah.
You can see the dress in the exhibition, in the second gallery.
Yes.
Keep on. So you did this collection for Hyères, and what was this collection based on? Because it was not really, it was very different from everything that was trendy back at the time, because historically in the early 90s it was post-golden 80s, and you had a different proposition, let's say. So how did you work this collection?
The collection itself was very much an expression of the way we felt living in Paris, feeling very small, feeling very isolated and detached from everything, really. We felt like total outsiders. So we tried to channel that into these 10 pieces. It's funny when you look at it now, all the elements that we worked with the past 25 years are already present in these 10 outfits. So yeah, it was an expression of how we felt, really, very personal.
And then you won all the top 3 prizes.
Very unexpected for us,
Yeah.
which was great. And for the other contestants, everybody kind of had the ambition to start their own label. For us, it was really a one-off experiment, and we wanted to meet the jury, and that's it. So when they called us on stage, it was them inventing Viktor and Rolf, because they didn't know how to call us. So they said, oh, and the winners are Viktor and Rolf. So we quite liked the sound of it, and we kept it ever since.
So you became Viktor and Rolf then?
And it was as well because everybody expected us to be a label, and we got like a few of these prizes where we got a PR agent, we had there were shops that were interested, and so it kind of happened to us. It was never really.
Yeah. But we saw it as a networking opportunity, really, this contest. But then we won, and we got all these other opportunities on top of it.
But how did you work on these opportunities? Because I know that you won among the prizes some palm trees.
Yeah.
And
instead of a trophy, you got a palm tree, because Hyères is the city of palmiers, the palm trees.
And
so
you
we
got
had with the palm trees.
a money prize, and you never got the check.
Yeah.
Right?
As well, true.
Yeah. The mayor of Hyères came on stage, like very self-important, and he had this check, and he said, and the price of the city of Hyères is, and in southern French accent, he said, is 5,000 francs. It was the franc at the time. And we thought, oh, it's 100,000 francs, which was a lot of money for us, but then it turned out it was 5,000. It was, 100 and 5, it's sort of...
But then we never got it.
We never got that either.
And did you try to do internships together in Paris, or to because your fashion heroes back then was who? Martin Margiela, and who were the people you wanted to work with?
Gaultier.
Galliano. There were some opportunities to intern with certain designers.
After we won.
After we won?
Yeah, we didn't want to do it anymore.
And also, it never paid, so it was very difficult. I mean, we had no money, so we had to make a living. But we did. It was funny because one of the things we won was the support of Sylvie Grumbach, who was a very important press agent at the time, and she asked us, "Who would you like to meet?" And we were like, John Galliano. She was like, okay. So she picked the phone and she called him. So we went to see him. And we said, Yves Saint Laurent. He was still alive. So she picked up the phone, and she didn't call him personally. But so we went to Saint Laurent's couture house. And everything, there was carpet, wall-to-wall carpet everywhere. Everything's very hushed. So everybody spoke like in whispering tones. There was this very fancy lady looking at our portfolio with disgust, like, what is this? And then there was like a whispering sound in the corner somewhere, and that was the phone. So her earring went off, and she took the phone, and she said, "Now you have to leave because Monsieur Saint Laurent's coming." So we were kicked out. That was our meeting with Saint Laurent.
Okay. And then, so you were still trying to do fashion. So what were the next steps? Because the first collections were very conceptual. You know, you had L'Apparence du Vide, which was done in an art gallery. It was more installations. How were you financing your own work back then in the 90s?
Yeah, we had some freelance work. We worked for Première Vision. We were teaching a bit. We had a stipend here in Holland.
We worked at a styling office for a while.
And then everything we had, we invested in our work.
We had like a shitty little apartment. I slept in the kitchen on the floor. Literally. So, I mean...
So it was difficult the early years, but do you think it was a good formation for you to do these experiments? Because did you find yourself, because when you look at fashion back then, and it was really, fashion was in fashion in a way, and you came with something that was very different, which was a new category called fashion artist, and that's why the title of the exhibition is Fashion Artist. You really fell into a category that was not known in a way, because it was very more towards the art, but also using fashion as a medium. Were you feeling a bit lonely in your own category or by yourself, or you were believing that you could be successful and that it could lead to haute couture and ready to wear and all that, or how did you, what was the path to
I think the first 5 years, the most demand came from museums, and but I think the first 5 years nobody really took notice of our work. But those 5 years, in retrospect, are very important because it gave us time to experiment and to invent our own vocabulary. I think you need time to know who you are and to have a different voice.
And
we just basically felt like total outsiders, which we were. We didn't understand the fashion system. We didn't understand how to enter the fashion system. We just didn't know. So we tried out all kinds of things, and as it happened, the art world was more receptive to what we did.
But it was more after 5 years. We were like, we are getting too far away from our dream to become a fashion house, and it was after 5 years that we thought, okay, let's position ourselves at the top of the pyramid, and let's try to do couture. And it was then that then it happened quite fast that we got international recognition.
Yeah, so that moment of focus was very important for us. That we realized we need to be more focused. We cannot continue the way we were doing things.
Because in the exhibition, you'll see throughout the exhibition, there's, for example, in the first room, you'll see a poster that is called On Strike. On Strike was, let's say, a collection that you did. Why did you do this? Because basically it was a poster.
Yes, yeah. We already a couple of seasons. We weren't even working for that long. We were questioning the rhythm of fashion, and we just didn't feel like we felt it. I know it felt, in a way, it felt stupid. We also felt that there was not enough attention for what we did, so we felt a bit, zeg je dat, verontwaardigd? Rejected. Anyway, we thought it would make much more sense to print a poster saying we're on strike, because we felt like going on strike as a protest. We felt more of a protest than anything else.
And what was the impact?
No, but there was no impact.
Zero.
It was only years. It was only years later that that story was picked up, because then we were quite known, and then people really loved that story. But at the moment, it was
nobody cared.
One thing I really like also is when you did the launch, which was, what was it about? Because it was based on an idea of a book about envisioning your ideas.
No, the book came after. You're referring to an exhibition we did, in this exhibition, we visualized our ambitions in miniature installations, and yeah, they were ambitions. They were things we dreamed of, things we wanted, but that were not coming true. For instance, we wanted to have our own catwalk shows, so there was an installation of a doll on a catwalk, like this big. There was an installation of a little doll in a photo studio, because we wanted to have our clothes photographed. Also didn't happen. And there was a big installation of a fragrance, a fake fragrance. It's called Le Parfum, because we wanted to be famous designers with our own fragrance, which was also not happening. And the fragrance bottle could not be opened. It was hermetically sealed. So to this day, it's a mystery what's inside. You don't know what's inside.
Well, you have some bottles here, but I still don't know what's inside, so we'll see. But then, so you become designers, you do these first collections, you get a lot of recognition by the press with the first two collections, but I think one, in my opinion, that really broke the rules in the fashion industry is, maybe I'm wrong, and I'd be curious to know what's your opinion, because for me, Russian Doll is really a key moment in your career where you got, you know, I'm from Canada, and that's the first time I heard about Viktor&Rolf in Canada is with the Russian Dolls collection, with this idea, which was incredibly fantastic. Because is it the moment you think that you made it to into fashion, that your dream was kind of becoming reality, or it's when you did ready to wear, or when you launched perfumes, or when is the moment you think that now we're doing it?
I think for us that was the Atomic Bomb collection, which was a season before. So probably because then I think the fashion crowd knew about it, that the collection you refer to was then really picked up. But for us, that Atomic Bomb collection was really that we felt like going through a portal somehow. You felt like, oh, it's something really changed.
Yeah, to the next level in terms of the reception, the audience, the people and the level of the people that witnessed it, but also the way of working. It was the first time we really professionally worked on a show with casting, proper casting, really good hair and makeup. Inez and Vinod, who we work with a lot still, they helped us with all these aspects, and that was such a learning experience.
But although the Atomic Bomb collection was the shapes were unusual, but the show was still quite conventional. So when we did the show, the Babushka show, the Russian Doll show, it almost wasn't a show anymore. It was just performance, and we had no clue how people would react.
And how do you work together? Because that's something that is very a mystery for some people. You know, we're used to see one designer. Knowing you now, you often say that we're one mind, we're the same person also in a way, but how do you technically work together? You know, from the atelier to the office to making a collection, how do you exchange ideas? What is your process? Do you go from ideas and of the show, and how do you develop a collection?
It's like ping pong, a bit like ping pong. One will start, the other will, you know, and we go back and forth all the time. We discuss everything. And something is finished when we're both okay with it. If we're not both okay with it, then it means it's not right yet. We have to go on. Of course, now after 25 years, the visual language is shared, so we don't need to explain a lot to each other. And on a very practical level, we sketch quite a lot, like physically. We'll give a sketch to the atelier, and they will build a shape, and then we go into fittings. That's it in a nutshell.
Okay. Does it happen that you disagree on anything?
Rarely. We usually, if we disagree, then we just talk until we find consensus. This almost always works, except, for example, when there's air conditioning, and we have different needs for temperature, then it's difficult.
Please explain, what do you mean?
When you're in a car and I like it warm and Victor likes it freezing cold, it's hard to get a
balance. Are you okay with this? That's the only thing you disagree on, or?
Well, he never carries any money. I always carry the purse.
And when is how did you build your atelier, your team? You know, you come out of school, you started to draw yourself. You were stitching on the floor of the. And that's one thing that is quite funny because when we were installing the exhibition, you know, there are some pieces that are lent by museums. And of course, they're very precious. But even the guys, you know, they did it on the kitchen floor of their really crappy apartment, and now they cannot even touch them anymore. So how do you develop your team and know that you need a person that can do embroidery and a person? How did you build your team to have someone who can do patron and someone who can do fabrics and?
Yeah, that's maybe one of the toughest parts, to find people you work with well. For us, it's indeed, we did everything ourselves at the start. Then we started to notice that we just needed to have more, not just more hands, but also more knowledge, more technical knowledge in all fields. Yeah, trial and error. But there's some people that have worked with us for almost 25 years.
Do you consider that haute couture is a laboratory for you, or ready-to-wear was also a laboratory?
For us, couture is really a laboratory for ideas, and still it remains that for us. We don't want any restrictions, and we always say to ourselves, everything should be possible.
Mm-hmm. And when you do a collection, because I know that one thing that fascinated me is that you always start with the idea of the catwalk show, and then you develop the collection around it, basically.
Yeah,
which is
that's
quite
often the case.
unusual, I find.
Yeah, it starts with text. Whatever we do, if we make perfumes or shows, it starts with words, and then we visualize the words.
Really?
Yeah, with fragrance it's the same, which was for L'Oreal, works on our fragrances. For them it's very unusual, but we need a name to work on the fragrance. Otherwise it's like, the name is the story, let's say. If there's no story, then we don't know it can go in any direction.
So for the collection, it's the same thing. You just come up with a name or with an idea, and you develop the clothes around it.
Yes.
Yeah. And for ready-to-wear, how did you end up doing your own ready-to-wear line back in 2000?
Well, we did a couple of couture shows which were very well received, and we got recognition, but it was very difficult financially. So we needed money. And we were approached by a very important factory at the time, a Japanese partner, who proposed to do ready-to-wear. And we thought, that's the way you do it, that's the way it's supposed to be done. We didn't even question whether or not we wanted to do that. We just thought, hey, let's do ready-to-wear.
That's right.
So we entered the treadmill of ready-to-wear in 2000, yeah.
Do you want to look at some portfolios now?
Sure.
I think we have some... Are you nervous? Who's the most nervous? Really? Who wants to break the ice? Who wants to break the ice? Okay, let's pick one.
We just do like...
Yeah, you want to do that?
It's your call.
Ta-ta-ta-ta. Maja Simisic.
Please come have a seat with us.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. Can you tell us, what's your name again? Maya. Where do you study?
I study at Willem de Kooning, second year. And I actually originally come from Serbia, Belgrade. Yeah. And Emily, it's really great to meet you.
Yeah.
Hello. Welcome. Nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
And what do you want to do? What do What's your goal? What's your ideas behind your work?
Well, I really like my mostly inspiration comes from women. Also, this behavior, like different forms, not perfect shapes. I really like Comme des Garçons and Ray Kawakubo from the early days. So I would say that's my most inspiration. Also, movement, dance, a lot of emotions, movies, Jim Jarmusch, my favorite one. Different cultures, yeah.
And what is it you want to do later? Do you want to have your own label?
Actually, I still don't know. I'm really interested in movies, so maybe something in the movie business, or I'm actually quite open for a lot of things, so I just want to go with the flow and see what life brings. But definitely want to work with clothes and fashion.
You're wearing your own.
Yes,
design,
exactly.
right?
Yes. Just the pants was too much, so I just took the upper part.
And can you tell us something about the pictures that we're seeing? Everybody's seeing them, right?
Yeah. So the pictures are, I think, mostly are done by me. Most in particular, this one was my latest project, and it was about a gangster lady.
Can you hear me?
Is it working? Yeah. It was about a gangster lady, and I made a whole story about it, about the zoot suit, and how to make it practical. So I did the fanny pack, which is my favorite practical item, and then wrapped it around the whole suit, and also about where the pant loops are, the belt loops, and was all over. And then I also actually made a little video about it, which I'm also a bit proud of. And I collaborated with a lot of people from my school in this project, and that was also very fun. I like to collaborate with people. Yeah.
And is this your graduation project?
Oh, well, no, it was just the end of the first year project.
And you are, which year are you
I'm
now?
now second.
You're now second, okay. Okay. And what are you working on at the moment?
Well, at the moment, we just started a new project, so I'm just researching. So that's what I like to do in the beginning, just research a lot, read a lot. And then I figured out that my mind needs a lot of researching, and then at some point it's just it's there, and then I know what I need to do.
And your Willem de Kooning, is that a very technical school? I don't really know the school.
I would say it's a lot, it's not really traditional. I think it's really experimental and really in new technology, in new things. We also learned what you said, that you didn't learn a lot about the industry. We learn a lot about the industry and what's right, what's wrong, what's the real face of the industry, like fast fashion, things like that. So,
did they teach you about Viktor&Rolf?
Well, they definitely teach us about different designers, and they're always explore, go, Vogue, let's do now, websites, go. So we need to definitely know about you guys and a lot of other designers in the branch. So I'm really, in Serbia we don't have anything like this, so I'm really grateful to be here. The machines and all the knowledge we get, it's so different, because I also have a lot of friends who study different kind of designs in Serbia, and it's definitely a lot different. And when I hear about the people, my friends and colleagues, oh, it's this and that, I'm be happy. This is, not everybody has this, so.
Right. You have a question for the guys?
Actually, I was just randomly thinking about what are your favorite brands and clothes you like to wear?
No.
Well, I think as you yourself said, Comme des Garçons is of course, it's amazing how she has been able to be so extremely creative and so extremely commercial. Yeah, that's something really to look up to. But
I have very basic taste.
Yeah,
What is this? This was given to me. I like the color.
it's sentimental.
It's it doesn't really mean.
Super. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to pick another one now? Isabelle Wildenberg. Please, welcome.
Everybody's front row.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Hi.
Hello. Nederlands?
Welcome. Nice shoes.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Where did you get these?
I just came back from America. I did my internship there from UX.
Oh,
Yeah.
where did you intern?
First at NSUI and then Nomad 7. She just started, it's from M. Bowen. She did Brightwell before. But I wanted to look in a more smaller company that just started up so that I can see a lot of different parts of the company.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can you explain us, first of all, where do you study?
Amsterdam Fashion Academy.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Do you have many friends from the Academy of Amsterdam here?
Yeah, two there.
Yeah? And more
And I
somewhere?
think more up that they're
Yeah?
studying, or I don't know.
Good. And can you tell us a bit about your work and your vision and what you want to achieve? Your dreams, in fact.
Well, I'm still like a little bit more experimenting. I'm not sure what I want. So I'm, looking around. I'm also myself, I don't really know what really my own style is. So that's what I'm looking around. The one on the screen just now was a recycle project. And I was born in Amersfoort, and Piet Mondriaan, the artist, is from Amersfoort. So I thought it's nice to do something with that. And he used all the primary colors. So I thought, I was in the supermarket and I saw the colors every time, and I was like, wow, this is the same colors he used. So I recycled plastic bags from the supermarkets and made a poncho out of it. So yeah, this is some pictures of it.
Why poncho?
Well, it was just like the first I thought of. I just went with my first idea. I liked it to have it like really big, and also when I made samples, it was pretty hard to sew the plastic. So I was like, what is an easy like pattern, because we didn't have a lot of time with it, and yeah, I just like went with this one.
And the sketches are?
I didn't really know what we needed to send in, so this is like really small part of it. So I just made one page with some sketches of like different projects I had in school. In the beginning, it was also a recycle project. I asked all my friends around the world to send a flag, and I wanted to make outfits out of it. And
they did? They sent?
Yeah,
So
I
you
had
have
like
a
lot of flags. It was like amazing. I thought like, okay, how am I going to do it? I'm not going to text every single one because that took like a lot of time. I did it though, but I was like, okay, maybe they have also friends that can send me flags. So I posted on social media everywhere, and I made like a little video of myself. Please help me. I have this project and I'm recycling stuff. So that's how I did it. Yeah.
And you physically made?
Yeah, I made it's not in here because I wasn't sure for what we needed to send in the portfolio, to be honest. So I made, I'm sorry, the long jacket, this one with a skirt.
We don't know what to do either, hoor. So maakt niet uit.
I need to do a photo shoot with all of them still, so, but I made a long jacket with a bandeau and a skirt. out of it. And I want to make more, but we just need to make one outfit. So, and then we went to the next project. So I didn't really have time.
And do you want to make your own brand or?
Yeah, first I want to do a lot of internships to see different part of fashion companies. Well, I started at Karl Lagerfeld. I did after NSUI, and then I was like, okay, I want to do something really different. So I went to like more streetwear luxury brands, a really small company that just started. So I did that on purpose to see and do as much as possible. I also want to see, well, like a Zara or H&M, how they do it, because myself, I'm not sure what I want yet. So I think it's good to see as much and learn as much as possible.
I think that's very wise.
Yeah.
So that's my plan for now.
And do you have a question for the guys?
Not really. I'm super nervous here, sitting and thinking, like, what do I need to say? No, it's like so amazing to see and meet you, and I'm just like listening to everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Wishing you a lot of luck.
Yeah. You pick one?
I pick one.
I say the name?
Chloe Severin. Please welcome Chloe.
Hi.
Hi.
Rolf. Hi. Nice to see you.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, where do you study?
Now I study at Willem de Kooning Academy, and
Okay.
first I started at Artes, and I studied there till Collectie Arnhem. I did that as well, and I had to take a little break, and now
You didn't graduate and you went to a different school? Okay, good.
I took a little break because of my health,
Okay.
and I wanted to change academy because it's more free, and
Yes.
then I can gain more information from another perspective, from another academy. So.
Can you tell us a bit about your work and your vision and what you work on mostly, and what's your favorite things to work on?
My favorite things to work on is textile and knitwear. So that's also where I'm trying to focus on, and I really love to make it from scrap. You know, from like I don't know how to say it in English, but from A to Z. I'd say that?
A to Z,
A to Z. Yeah. So like really creating things with just my hands and from the beginning on. So that's my main focus. And my designs develop from the materials I created myself. So, yeah. And I think it's all sort of related to romanticism because of that idea of creating it from the real beginning. And I really want to focus on trying to take it a step further and trying to recycle and making my own threads. So that then I can really, I don't know. It's just I really have a fascination for that, for
You must have
a love.
You must have a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, and I can really just lose myself in it.
Yeah.
Like then it's just I forget all the time and everything around me. It's just me and my knitting machine.
Yeah.
Then it's 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Think I have to go to bed.
And do you always work on a machine, or do you work by hand as well?
No, the knitting is on a machine because I don't know how to knit by hand.
Oh no?
No. Maybe later.
Maybe nice.
Maybe later. Yeah, but I really like the I don't know how the machine works, and that if you know how the machine works, then you can do so much with it. That's amazing. I really find it amazing.
Yeah.
You have one in your bedroom? Or how do you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. In my, I created a space for knitting and creating textiles. So my own little atelier, you could say. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Thanks. And this is from my internship. It was Studio Man. It's really small. It's 3 girls that just graduated, and I really wanted to see how they started their beginning, and how they did that. And they got an assignment to do an how do you say that? Frank Govers.
In Nederlands? Ook?
Ja, ik kom niet op het woord. Ter ere van Frank Govers.
hommage.
Juist.
Oké.
Ja. Ja, en we moesten werken met allemaal materialen die waren overgebleven van Koningsdag. En dat hebben ze eigenlijk aan mij gegeven.
Okay.
En gezegd van, go your gang.
Go your gang, yeah.
Go your gang. Do what you want.
Right.
And this is what I
But did
created.
you know who Frank
That sounded
Govers was?
funny, but I don't know what it was.
Do your thing. They gave me the project and for my internship, and they just said, just do what you want. And they just gave some small feedbacks.
That's a nice internship.
It's a real nice internship, yeah. And they're gonna take me out for dinner because they love me so much.
Do you have a question for the guys?
Yeah. Have you ever dealt with anxiety or not feeling
Oh my God, do you
good
have a
enough?
moment?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just please tell me about it.
Story of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Anxiety is can be. Zeg je dat?
Destructive. Very
Destructive.
Yeah.
So there have been times in our life that really we were anxious and depressed, but then the power you have as a creative person is to use it and transform it. So whenever we feel that things are not going right, we somehow have to deal with it in our work. Like, for example, when we once did a collection that was all black, and the clothes were black and faces were black, everything was black. Because it was like we didn't see any light, or it was so dark. Yeah. And then just by doing it and by getting rid of it somehow, it liberates, and then you can continue.
So I think on the one hand, channeling anxiety or negativity or anything into work helps. What also helps is stepping out of it and realizing there's... because you can also get a tunnel vision where the only thing that exists is work. And then you need to snap out of it and realize there's a bigger life around all of that. And acknowledge that existence and acknowledge that in yourself. So I think, know yourself. That's.
Or in my case as well, at a certain point, I've been really going to digging into yoga. Yeah. So that really helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or a good therapist.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one.
Oh, it's so nice to see all this work.
Next one?
You pick one.
Okay, now Rolf picks one.
Ah, yeah.
Zara Kanan. If I pronounced it right.
Victor.
Hi.
How do we pronounce your name?
Kanan.
Kanan.
I don't know. Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi.
Yes.
Where are you from? Where do you study? Where are you from?
I'm from Amsterdam Fashion Academy, and I'm half English, half Jordanian. And I've been living in Amsterdam for the last 2 years, and I'm loving it so far.
So tell us something about what we're seeing.
Yeah,
here.
so this project was actually based on a film, La Haine. I don't know if you've watched it. But I we had this draping brief, and I sort of really enjoyed intertwining the draping with the sort of moods and the sort of silhouettes, and the film really has beautiful cinematography and the fact that you can't really, well, I don't speak French fluently, but you can't understand it, so you have to read through subtitles. I don't know, it sort of adds that sort of romanticism, I guess, to it, and I really love that mood. So, and also what the characters were about, it was something, a film that really spoke to me. So, yeah. So I did some experimentation, and actually I ended up making a couple pieces. This is based on, I don't know what it's showing now, but this is based on in Paris, there's, by the Centre Pompidou, there's the La Écoute, the face of the guy. There's like a face. I don't know, okay.
No.
It's next to the Centre Pompidou, and it's by Henri Matisse. I don't know, forgot the last name. But anyway, this is based on the pieces. Yeah. Ironically, that kind of looked like some of your pieces. That's so funny.
And the hands, I see you have a lot of drapes with...
Yeah. So the hands were based on the structure that was in the film. And a lot of all these block works were also based on the film, and sort of even like the escalators I liked. And it was sort of a really work in progress where I would just overlap the screenshots from the film and then see what silhouettes I came up with. This is textile printing that I was working on. This is all hand-drawn. I based it off the city that my family comes from in Jordan, Amman, and I don't know, I thought it was fun.
And is there a part in here that you enjoy particularly? Like the prints or the draping? Or
I really enjoyed the draping. I really enjoyed the draping project just because there's so many ideas that you can come up with. I love experimenting. I love it, I don't like to limit myself. And I wanted it to be a 3D piece. So I ended up, stuffing these fingers I made for the final project, and not necessarily maybe pinning things on in random places, and just really trying everything and seeing what really spoke to me. Yeah.
And what's your ambition for the future?
As a goal, you mean?
Yeah, what would you like to do, or where do you see yourself?
I'd love to be creative director of a brand. I don't know, I think I would love to just express, and I don't know, it sounds pretty corny, but I'd love to spread a message and, I don't know, really change something, I don't know what it is, but that's sort of what I like to do. Yeah, for the moment.
And do you have a question for you guys?
I do.
Can you just speak closer to your mic?
Oh yeah, sorry. So how we're living in the digital age, I'm actually really interested in what new fabrics or new technology that you're planning to use, maybe for a new collection, or if you're planning to use any at all. Like in terms of maybe fabrics.
New fabrics or new technologies. If we plan to use any. Well, we always see technology as a tool, not as a means in itself.
Okay.
Having said that, we're also, when we design, we rarely start from a fabric. We always start more abstract. We need to have an idea, a more abstract idea about what it is we would like to say. And then, we gather the elements that we need to express what it is that we would like to transmit. So fabric is something that comes second. Shapes are there to illustrate the idea, if you will. Yeah. But technology we see as a tool. For us, it's what do you want to say? How do you say it? And then we look for the best way to say it, the best way to express it.
Are you interested in using maybe sustainable fabrics? Is that an interest to you?
Absolutely, yeah. And not just fabrics, but if you take a step back, we've started working around the idea of sustainability, and we did a couple of collections where you can see a few pieces in the show, where they're sort of meditations on this very subject. Like, what's it like, for instance, if you don't buy new fabrics? We did a collection where we used our old archive, we decided not to buy any, well, we just bought one fabric. Sorry, truth be told. But we used all our old fabrics from 20 years ago, one season ago, we mixed everything up.
Yeah.
So that's perhaps the most important issue, I think, to tackle for the fashion industry now, sustainability.
It's incredibly
Absolutely,
important,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're running a bit late, but I really, really hope that there's questions from. Oh, you want to come? Please, come.
Hi. Hello, Victor.
Which one are you?
I'm the one with the creepy picture, I think, at the front. 1, 2, 3.
He says, I'm the one with the creepy pictures.
Yeah, okay, they say so. So,
Oh.
Can I sit?
Okay.
Sit down?
Yeah, please.
Too small.
So your name is?
You can call me Haas, so
Haas.
Haas, okay.
Yeah, okay. Hi.
So where do you study?
I'm studying in Germany in AMD, Academy of Modern Design in Düsseldorf. And I'm the 5th semester. I just need to breathe because I never thought I'm going to see you in 100 years. Okay, and I'm in the 5th semester now, and interface.
Sorry, say again, you are?
At 5th semester.
5th semester, okay.
And
how many are there?
There's only, now internship, and then I'm bachelor, so and then I'm done. So I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, and...
So can you tell us what we see on the screen? It's got not creepy picture. It's very nightish kind of spirit. It's very beautiful, I think.
Oh, thank you. Well, the collection is inspired by a selection of poems by Sylvia Plath called The Colossus. The Colossus is a big statue that's used to be made in Greece for a dead person. And this is the story of the story of the whole inspiration, and then the story of form are also a poem by Sylvia Plath, which is called Aquatic Nocturne, has to do with creatures from the sea. And I used to be afraid from the sea because it represents me a sort of uncertainty when I first moved to Germany. So I some sort of inflicted into the collection, so it will look a little bit dark at times. So I mixed a lot of materials, so jacquard, something that imitates a bit of a creature from the sea. I wanted something really huge, like some sort of a statue, and that's why I wanted to cover the model totally, that you will only resemble like half the face. I'm the one who created the makeup concept, the styling and everything, so it's all an image. For me, it's very important that the collection does express an emotion, because without an emotion, for me, it's nothing. We can move to another, the pictures move. Oh, yeah, so this is this underworld. Into the sea, I want something very colorful. And these hands, they represent some sort of distance, as if a person who's not aware of what he really wants out of life. Those were like 4 kilos of mussels from Aldi, what I had to cook and feed them to a friend of mine who's already here.
Repeat, it's what?
That's heavy.
4 kilos of mussels that I bought from Aldi. And I had to cook them and feed them to a friend of mine, she's already here, and then dry them, polish them, and I draped the whole dress on the mannequin itself.
Were they cleaned before, or?
No, I clean them at home. So you can just dry them in sodium carbonate, and then you take the whole smell out, and you polish them. Then I draped the dress on the model herself. So a part of it's very experimental, because I love to experiment with material. And I just cut I did not use the construction system. I just take the pattern, and then I just cut the arms, and then I draped it on the mannequin. Sadly, I don't have work in progress picture, so because I love to use my hands a lot. This human touch. I think it's this creativity that you put something, because I don't think the sewing machine can do everything. Yeah.
Agree. Yeah.
What else? And the last one in color. Is in the last collection of last semester. Is the first attempt in prêt-à-porter. And because Monsieur Haas does not make clothes that's wearable, so I had to make something that's wearable.
Is that your brand name, Monsieur Haas?
I know, but they call me like this. Okay, at school. So
It's a good name.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I draped the arms. If we move with the pictures, the collection is inspired from social media, from Instagram. I wanted to present some sort of this vain life. It's very, maybe it would look very luxurious. The fabrics are very reflective. It would look very trendy. And at the same time, it will reflect this narcissistic nature as we look on a phone all the time, as if it's two lives. And inspiration was from the street, from clubwear. And one picture, maybe this one especially. This is the shorts I'm wearing now, so
yes.
This one. I don't do collage, I draw, because sometimes I'm afraid I will copy an arm or a leg for somebody else, or designer, so I try to concentrate this time on something all my own. And here, those are called, they represent wings, and they're inspired from Egypt, where I come from, and they present strengths and peace at the same time, because I wanted to give an element, also with my hand, they were draped also on the model, that I will use, use something prêt-à-porter and haute couture at the same time, or what we call demi-couture, that I will bring something that's wearable, and at the same time has a human touch in it. Yes. Okay, relax it a bit.
Thank you.
I have a question for the guys.
Wait. Oh, so nice to see you. Well, you're real. Okay, cool.
Your question.
Yeah. One moment, please. When you first started, and you said, or you both mentioned that you received some sort of rejection or something in Paris because it was very different, or it's artsy.
Rejection doesn't stop. Huh?
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, how did you deal with it till you are who you are both now? Another question, what happens when Victor is without Rolf and Rolf is without Victor?
Okay, two questions. When we started out, of course, we won this contest first, which was great, but that was just the beginning. So after that, there were many moments when there was rejection in some kind of a way.
Still.
Yeah, still.
So I think one thing that really helped us is that we stopped reading reviews, stopped reading about what people say or think. We don't really care. No, that's it.
Yes, stop reading reviews, but also focus on. In the end, you have to focus on what you want yourself. So, I mean, if we are convinced that it's good, we have to do it, and then it needs to exist. And if someone then doesn't like it, that's in a way extremely painful, but it has to exist. So because we want it. So, and we have each other. Eh? That's a big help.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, what happens if you both split? Not really. I mean,
I think our biggest accomplishment in these 25 years is our friendship and what it has evolved into. Our work is really a visualization of our friendship, and it's basically everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I guess. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. It's funny. There's like a position for this mic. Do you have any? Does anyone have questions? Oh. Great. So can you come line up here? And when you come, if you can, please introduce yourself and say where you're from and where you study and all that. Please. So everyone's come. That's great. No, I really love that. Oh my that's God. Fantastic.
I'm going to make a picture.
That's sweet.
Shoot.
Yes, let's start. What's your name and where do you study?
I'm Laura. I'm Laura, and I study at Amfi in Amsterdam. And my question is, when I was 10 years old, I sent you guys a letter to the atelier with sketches with it, and because I wanted to work with you or see the atelier, but I never got a response to it.
So you're asking what happened to my effing letter?
Yeah, that's my question. What happened to my letter?
Well, you know, we copied all your sketches and then...
And here we are.
Do you have a letter
Next
now?
question.
Sorry?
Do you have a letter now for them?
No, I don't have it. No, it's left at your atelier.
I must say it's
so-
quite unusual because usually we answer letters.
Sorry?
So I said usually we answer letters, so it must have...
Yeah.
I'll give you
Okay.
the right address if you want.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yes.
Well, thanks for writing.
Hi.
Hi. I have a question. I'm Lynn, and I'm a fashion student at the Willem de Kooning Academy. And I also sent my portfolio because I have a question for you, but unfortunately I didn't get picked. But I will ask my question as well as also for my classmates. This year we have to do an internship, and we have to make a portfolio. And I think my whole class is very nervous for that period, and I wanted to ask you if you got any tips for us.
For your internship, you mean?
Yeah, for how we can approach the brands and how, I don't know, you said earlier that it was really hard, but what did you experience and want to share with us so we can go without anxiety to our internship brands or something?
To be honest, a lot of anxiety.
Yeah,
I had a horrible internship, so I don't know if I can give you very good advice. And I was a terrible intern, I think.
And at the moment, we never select, because we have our team that selects portfolios. I would keep it to a minimum amount of photos with a very good letter. I know that the people who select people for internships, they really look at your motivation, why you want to come, and that's very important.
All right, thank you.
And probably also, if you're invited for a talk, then be open to just do. I think when you're an intern, you're allowed into a company, into an organization, and it doesn't really matter what you do. It's just you're there. You can look around and experience. Anything can be a learning experience, I think.
All right, thank you.
This is your work, by the way, that we were seeing just before?
I don't know, I see Viktor&Rolf, so...
Yeah, no, I know, but just before. This?
No,
No?
that isn't my work.
Ah, it's yours. Oh, so. Well, thank you.
Super grappig dit.
Hi.
I am Brian. I'm a student at Willem de Kooning, and I come from Brussels. And my question was, do you guys want to collab?
Sorry?
Do you guys want to do a collaboration? Nah, but it was just a joke. My real question is...
Collaboration with you.
My real question is, what is the best advice you guys could give to the young designers that are starting today?
I don't hear it, sorry.
What's the best advice you can give a fashion student?
Oh.
And if you want to do a collaboration with him?
Our advice to everyone is always be as authentic as possible. Try to make something that nobody else does. It's so boring to see things that we've seen already somewhere else. I think that people are always waiting for something new, and that's always the best thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Lisa. I study at London College of Fashion. I was just wondering, it might be really cliche, but when you ask designers or artists, what do you draw inspiration from? Usually they say everything around me, but I'm really skeptical of that because I feel like you naturally draw to something, like because you're a person. And what do you draw to? What is like your inspiration? Does it come from colors or photos, maybe other people's work, or just shapes?
I always dread that question. Misschien moeten we een voorbeeld geven.
In our case, it's really not visual. So we start talking about how we feel, what we've done last season, what we think could be better, things we've read in the newspaper, and then somehow it's from this conversation there is words or a short story coming out of it that then we visualize. And if that particular emotion or concept asks for red, then that's what we go with. But it's never that we see a painting or we see a movie or we see something very direct.
So you would argue that it's more of like an emotion, it's more a current state of mind that you're in, and that's where the collection comes from?
It's an emotion, but also there's also an analytical side to it. I'll give an example. We stopped our ready-to-wear line in, I forget, 2014, 2015, but we continue to do haute couture. At that very moment, we said to ourselves, when we started designing this, the first haute couture collection that existed in this new universe where there was no ready-to-wear, we said to ourselves, let's make it very clear what haute couture means in our universe. So we said, okay, it's like art. And then we took that very literal. We said, what is a very literal symbol of art? We said, okay, painting as a genre. And then came the thought, could you wear a painting, literally? Could you wear a painting as a dress? So this is to show you the chain of thought. It's quite, in this case, it was quite literal. So we decided to dedicate a collection to the literal idea of fashion as art or art as fashion. And we created all these dresses that were like wearable paintings. You could wear them as a dress, you can also wear them as a painting. They're in the show.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, I'm Robin from the Amsterdam Fashion Academy, and I was wondering what advice you would give to handle the business side of starting your own label.
Is hire somebody to do it for you.
But, I mean, of course, you must be involved a lot in what you're advertising. That's all your identity. That's what your fashion house is about. So how much input did you yourselves as designers have in that?
Well, we started out doing everything ourselves, so also making all the mistakes ourselves. I would say get a really good lawyer. No, seriously, not a joke. Get a really good lawyer, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Robin. Hi.
Hello, I'm
Hello.
Elise. I'm from Amsterdam Fashion Institute. I actually have two questions. The first one is, actually this morning when I was driving here with my mom, I was talking about that the fashion industry is getting more inclusive to different types of models and body types, but it's more in the commercial side, I feel. And do you think a big change in the type of models will really occur in the more high fashion anytime soon? Because she said, my mom said that it was like this like 20 years ago already, but still in the high fashion it didn't change as much.
Ik kan het moeilijk horen.
The diversity in your shows and in general in fashion, you think it...
Diversity?
Yeah.
If it's happening in the higher levels of...
But like not just ethnicity, but also really body types, like different sizes, just away from the really tall, skinny model.
Well, you see there's a lot of attempts recently to show an image that's more inclusive and that's more diverse. It's not always well succeeded. I know that we try to act like that more. We've become more aware of it.
I do think, especially with the political situation in America, you really see that people are trying much more, which is
okay. And my second
very
question is, you said that when you were younger there was like no social media and you were really bored. But I think also 25 years ago there was not really much social media. And what kind of change have you noticed in like how you work or how people approach you in this time that social media is developed?
I think people's attention span has diminished.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
As well, we feel maybe a loss of sense of history.
Okay.
People don't really see where things come from.
And I wonder if there's an awareness of craftsmanship. When you look at images all the time, you forget that you're looking at a real thing. I'm not meaning you, but I mean in general. I ask myself if people are aware of that, and what will that mean?
And if I can add something as a curator and as someone who is doing books, one thing that is important, and I think it's really good for you and for anyone, is to read a lot and try to see as many things as possible and know where things come from, because I feel that we're more in an era where it's less about talent and creativity and it's more a popularity contest, like on social medias. And I think it's important, for example, you'll see in the exhibition, there is one piece that was worn in the one-woman show, where it's all these shirts that are layered together. And people forget that this was done almost 15 years ago, and everybody now raves this season that it's so extraordinary what Balenciaga did with all these layered jackets, which is exactly a copy of what they did 15 years ago. They cannot say it, I can say it. So I think it's important to have the good references and also to know the history of things. But anyway, it was just a personal comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, I have to keep this short, I heard. So I am Susanna. I am a fourth-year student at Willem de Kooning. I'm going to graduate, hopefully, this year. And my question to you is like, if you look back to your own graduation, what was the most important? Like if you look back, because I have all these assumptions, what is important, but...
A nice question. I think how happy I was that I could get away from school. It's like, finally. Yeah.
I honestly...
You don't remember.
I thought it was good to finally make something, and I thought there was a healthy sense of competition in our group. Mm-hmm. When you make a few drawings, it's different than when you realize a collection. Mm-hmm. It was the first time we made a collection. Mm-hmm. In hindsight, there's a lot of things I would do differently, but...
It's crazy that after 4 years of school, your first collection is as well your graduation collection, but hey.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a pity, because you learn a lot from doing something, actually making something. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Hello, I'm Domitil from the Amsterdam Fashion Academy. I prepare some questions, but I will read one. Some artists feel that their collection do not represent them anymore of the change in time. And do you feel the same towards some of your collections?
No, not at all. No, the funny thing is when we did the exhibition that we felt somehow everything belongs together. And like I said at the beginning of the talk, in our first collection, almost all the themes that we touched on in the years after seem to be present. Yeah, that's just the way it was. Of course, we did things that in hindsight were not the best ideas, but yeah. But then it also depends on context. We did a show with very elaborate stuff going on, and the show was a disaster. But then here in the museum, it's kind of great. So.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Evelien Jager, and I'm a theater design student at HKU, and we're like busy doing costume design and not so much fashion design, but sometimes it's like not all of us want to become costume designers, and we look to you for inspiration because you use a lot of drama in your shapes and it's like dramatic. And I was just wondering how you make sure that your fashion does not become a costume, but is still dramatic in its own way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, because indeed that's a fine line.
I think maybe by crossing the line sometimes you think, oh, that is a bit costumey, and then so that yeah, it's always a balance.
But it's difficult to describe. It's a feeling. It's a feeling, but.
Okay. Like everybody may judge it differently then.
Of course, but that's anyway the case. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Because you will see in the exhibition, there's a small section about stage costumes they did for Madonna, for operas, and even for the Dutch National Ballet. But they look like costumes, but they're so related to your work also. So I think it's a very personal judgment. You'll see.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi. I'm Alicia from Amsterdam's Fashion Institute, and I'm now in my second year of fashion and design. And I was wondering, you have been designing for so long, and how did your design process change and develop over the years? And what were the most important changes in your design process?
I think we've become faster. We sort of eliminate the bullshit and try to be as fast as possible. And part of it comes from a period where we did a lot, like several collections in parallel. Then you just have to be quick. And I think growing older, intuition becomes more important and also stronger, and perhaps confidence too.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alex. I study transformation design at the Willem de Kooning. And I was wondering, I just started my minor in branding. Could you describe your brand essence or mission in a single sentence?
What is transformation design?
I think people will be mad if I start to explain it because it's kind of a long story.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's
like in one sentence what it is.
It's about actively changing the perception of people's perception of a certain issue or topic within society mostly, and then activating them towards changing that. So it's very general and broad. We use multidisciplinary tools, but it's very interesting. If you have the time, look it up on Medica.nl.
Yeah.
Your turn now.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that you say this, because transformation is probably the word that we use the most in our work. Yeah. Zeg ik dat?
Yeah. In one sentence, that's a bit tough, but our work is always about the positive power of transformation.
Cool.
Transformative beauty.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. I'm Daphne from MAVOD, Academy of Fine Arts and Design in Maastricht. And working through a process, there's always some sort of point when I get stuck. And it's really frustrating, and it always happens. And my question to you is, how do you handle it? What do you do when you get stuck in a project? Or
what do we do?
Sulk? What? Sulk.
When you get stuck, usually it helps to just start, because a lot of the times you can keep thinking and you are too much in your head. So just by making little samples, doing, just even if you don't know what it will be, just making something, that's the next step, and that leads to the next step, and that leads to the next step. Because sometimes you have a clear concept and you know what you want to do. Other seasons, that's not the way it works.
Okay.
And then it's just hard labor.
Get out of your head.
But do you work on like completely different things, or just continue what you're doing and?
Oh, it can be completely different things. Like, oh, maybe for some seasons you really don't know, so you explore different.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hi guys, pleasure to meet you. Hi, my name is Joris Roze and I study visual arts at the Academy in Breda. And this summer I was in Normandy and I came across a very interesting video of one of your first pret-a-porter collections. I believe it was 1994, but I'm not sure. And it was an invigorating show where the models, at least the last model, walked up into a stair and she took off her ceramics hat and her
That's
necklace.
the first couture.
And yeah, exactly. And what funny was, I was appointed to this by my uncle, which is Jan. You must remember him. He made the necklace and the head.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't keep wondering, in how far do you infuse the set design part in your collections, or in your, you have the show, and then in what way do you integrate with the set design? So in what way?
Well, the show, very often an idea for the show is the start, and then we dress the show, if you will. But the first step is always the idea. Yeah. In this particular case, we wanted to make a statement about, we were annoyed that at the time accessories and like all of random stuff surrounding fashion was given so much importance, and that's why we literally wanted to destroy a piece of accessory to focus on clothes. That was the idea behind it at the time.
Okay.
But it's always an integrated whole
process. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, I must say you have a really nice look. What is it you're wearing?
I'm wearing Kenzo exclusive, and then Comme des Garçons, Anecdote pens, and Royal Republic sneakers.
Very nice look.
Thank you.
Nice hair.
Hello.
So hi.
Hi.
Hi. Good morning.
Can you just?
I'm very sure.
You're too tall.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Anuradha. I'm 17 years old, and I'm in my second year of fashion design at ROC Hilversum. And I was wondering, how do you stay creative and don't continuously make things that look alike? Because I am, as a goth, every time they tell me to design something, it ends up being black and ruffly or translucent, very goth. So I was wondering, how do you stay close to yourself but very creative at the same time? Diverse.
You're answering the question.
No, but how do you do that? It's so hard for me.
By trying to stay close to ourselves.
Oh. And another small question, is any of you guys more creative than the other, or are you equally?
He's much more creative than I am.
Oh, that's nice.
He's a genius.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Have you ever forced yourself to work in white?
Well, at school they kind of they're like, you have 4 hours to make this, and this is your inspiration. I'm like, that's not my inspiration. That's what you want to be my inspiration, but I don't like that, and now I have to work really hard to be inspired by that, and that's a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge. You can.
I don't like it.
You can say, okay, this time I make it in white.
Yeah.
Have you designed your dress?
No, it's a vintage dress. I don't know where it's from. I just stumbled upon it.
It's black and roughly, so.
Yeah.
I must say that restrictions can be very inspiring. Yeah. Even restrictions put onto you by whoever.
I like your last collection.
But I think as well, when you're in school and you can still experiment, and you know you like black and ruffles, you can always go back to black and ruffles. But
that's true.
Maybe try to
Blue
experiment a little bit.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Hello. Hello, I'm Mignon. Hello.
And my name is Wieteke, and we are from Artisjok in Olijfje, so we're not students anymore. But we design arts education.
Right?
Yes, yes, here we are again. So we were wondering, because Emily also said you're part of the cultural awareness for us, for the Netherlands.
Heritage.
Heritage, exactly. That's what the question is about, because within 2 weeks the exhibition is over, and then what? So how are we going to take your inheritance beyond this museum? Is that something you think about or would like to think about?
Yeah, we're looking into having the exhibition travel. So to the US, Asia.
Yeah,
working on it.
That's abroad. So how are we going to, how are we going to keep your inheritance here and beyond the museum?
We are here still.
Yeah. But do you know what? So how are we going to? How do you say that? Ontsluiten.
Well, you can buy a beautiful book.
Oh yeah, I have.
Yeah?
We have one, and I have children at home, and they're saying, "Oh, look, Viktor and Rolf are having a baby."
Sweet.
So, yeah.
But the heritage will stay in the Netherlands, because a lot of museum, and I think Groningen also at first was a museum that really supported you by buying a lot of pieces. So basically a lot of the pieces and a lot of the loans, in fact, are directly coming from permanent collections of a museum. Boijmans being one that is very important, with Han Nefkens, who's a collector of Viktor and Rolf. So, the heritage will stay in the Netherlands.
Yeah, but how do we take it out of the museum?
Well, you have to come until September 30th and spread the word to come here.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, thank you everyone for coming, for asking questions, and for being here. I just have one little last favor to ask you, because we want to do like a super selfie, like of all of us, but with all of us in the background standing. So can you just like stand, and I just want to do a selfie. Can you come?
Absolutely.
Where are we standing?
See if Fred can fit.
Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Attends. Give me the mic. Attends. 1, 2, 3. Say yeah, okay? When I say go, okay? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, go.